Welcome to Gulfstream Park. It is January 16th, 2015. Christina Basanakis, and I am joined by the lovely Gabby Gaudette. And many of you will know her from the Mid-Atlantic region and Maryland. That's usually your stomping ground. But Gabby, you're coming in for a great weekend. We have the Sunshine Millions. We've got the Eclipse Awards. So the weather, pretty good, right? Quite a change from what you've been seeing.
The weather is excellent, and that's actually kind of been a talking point since I got in last night. You know, it ditched the scarf, now onto sandals. Nice short sleeve shirt and everything. You know, down in Maryland, it's about 26 degrees, at least it was this morning, so we had to put a couple layers on, so it's nice to get a little break in the weather.
Well, it's great to have you here, and like as I said, it's a really big weekend. Gabby, quickly, I think many people who do watch horse racing, they're very familiar with you, but just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I came from a horse racing background. My parents are trainers. I also have a sister who's in the industry as well, but for the past couple of years, I have been working at the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel and Pimlico, and spent the summer out at Arlington International as well, which was a lot of fun.
So good. We have an expert, and then Gabby's going to be helping us tomorrow. We do have the Sunshine Millions, and Gabby's going to be giving us all the skinny on the horses coming from the Mid-Atlantic region, from New York, and we know that's your area of expertise. So we look forward to it. Great weekend of racing. And speaking of this weekend of racing, betting. We do have the Rainbow Six. There's a guarantee here, and it's races 5 through 10, 50,000 guaranteed pool. That is today. And for this weekend through January, we have the late pick 4, 100,000 guarantee, and the pick 5, 50,000. That's Saturday and Sunday this week and through the month of January. So lots happening, and let's get into today's races because we've got a lot to look at and some really interesting races. We will kick off with the first on the card, a 6250 claiming event. It is a mile on the main track. We do have one scratch, and that's number 5, Trace Screen is out. And my top selection, I went with number 6. And that's a Latent Fire from Diane Marici barn. And second last time, and just got nipped. It got to the front and just got nipped late by a horse that I think is a very useful type. Should be close up in this race, I would imagine, but it looks like we're in complete agreement.
Yeah,
yes.
6-5. Well, the reason that I primarily like this horse, last time out they stretched him out to that one-turn mile here at Gulfstream. It was the first time stretching out to that particular distance, and we saw a big improvement in his form. So that's pretty much the reason why I went in that direction, 5-2 on the morning line. But we also agree with pretty much the same top 3 in here. The 10 Artemis Coal Mine, I think, is pretty intriguing. I saw a big improvement in this horse with the addition of blinkers last time out, first time off the claim. Coming in off a little bit of a freshening there, I think should really improve today.
I think he should, and also that was a 5.5 furlong, so he's stretching out. Speed. I think that's going to be the key in that particular race, and maybe just Tony Tile will be up there with him early, so it'll be interesting to see how the races are playing early on in the day, so when we're going forward. On to the second race on the card, we do have a 20,000 claiming event. It is 5 furlongs on the turf course, and we do have it hasn't been confirmed. At the last that I saw, that number 12, My Cousin Faye, was slated to come out, and we will have Larry Colmus come on in just a few moments, and he will be giving us all the updated scratches and changes for today's card. And my top choice, I went with number 3. The 12th horse, I'm getting confirmation, is scratched, and that's My Cousin Faye, scratched from the second race, which kicks off the early pick 4. My top choice, Kazuna. Here's a second place effort for this Jane Sibeli runner. Edgar Prado, who was aboard that day, is back aboard here today. I see you didn't even use Kazuna, but we have several other horses. I love that the horse that you have on top in there is actually I didn't use either. So
I know, that's interesting. We actually both agree on the bottom horses, but I went in a different direction for the top selection. I went to the one creative license. Obviously, Jane Sibeli is always one to definitely respect. She consistently knocks out a high percentage down here, and this horse is coming off a second place finish. It was heavily bet last time out as well, so you definitely have to like that if you get a little bit more value on her today. I like the One Creative License. Just doing a little bit of research, it does look like at this particular distance, the rail seems to be a little bit more of a favorable position. And this horse is cutting back in distance. I think there's plenty of pace in here to probably set up for Creative License. Unfortunately, he just has to find a hole or a gap because he's going to be closing off the pace, turning back from the mile to the 5 furlongs.
And speaking of high percentage barns, you get Kirk Zadie. So if you could get a good price on a Kirk Zadie runner and Edgar Zayas in the to boot, then you're in really good shape. On to the third race on today's card. If we can get to today's third race on the card, and
Too many papers.
You know. 12.5. It's a maiden claiming $12,500. It's for 3-year-old fillies. A mile on the main track. We do have a couple of jockey changes. Number 4, Forever Lily, will be ridden by Luis Contreras, and number 7, Nora's Music, Rafael Hernandez gets aboard. And my choice, my selection in here, number 5. I see that it's a horse that you used as well. This filly, Save a Place for Me, and she was in the 10-hole last time. She is trying a route of ground for the first time. I think if you look at her on the bottom side, she's out of a Tappet mare, and even Purim, you'd see the Dinah Farmer, you'd see the distance should not be a problem, at least from pedigree perspective.
I agree with you. I don't think the distance should be a problem. Even the fact in this filly's debut performance, she didn't show any early speed, so that kind of gives you a little bit of a gauge that she should like this added distance. The drop in class, though, isn't really a vote of confidence from maiden special to 12.5, and she's coming off a couple months off the shelf, so that's why I kind of went to the 11, Como Luz. Although outside post position, it's going to be kind of a hard post position to overcome, but this is another one who I think should improve with that added distance. And the first 2 starts really didn't show any early speed, but I like the fact that at least she's been running in the past month, and we're going sprint route. Usually tends to be a favorable angle for me.
I see both of, and I see Gabby, I see both of us used also number 10, and that's Street Princess, also dropping. Luis Saez, he's been on fire here. He's just he can seem to do no wrong.
Absolutely. I think you definitely have to use this horse second off the claim, and just finished 4th last time out, so I think this horse could definitely improve.
We're going to take a look at the 4th race on today's card. It is an 8,000 claiming event, 7 furlongs on the main track. We do have a few scratches. Number 6, 8, and 9. My top selection. It looks like we're back in. We're not only in agreement, we're really in agreement in this race. And that's. I was talking about this horse. Actually, I was alluding to this horse just a few moments ago, and that's number 1, No Act, and claimed a couple of starts, 2 starts back. Now, again, look at that last race, Gabby. He's breaking out of that 10-hole, and he ran a pretty good race. Came from off the pace. He closed well. That was going a mile. We're cutting back to 7/8 here today, but. Talk about hot barns, George Navarro. At this level, too, I like to see recent works.
Absolutely, and the tipping point for me was the turn back here. We have a couple of horses who have run pretty well in the past couple of starts, but this horse is turning back off of a big win to that 7 furlongs out of the new barn. George Navarro, always a very consistent player as well. So I like the rail post too, should be able to get a nice pocket trip and hopefully find some running room late.
And hopefully we'll be getting a little bit of speed in there, because it's a little bit unclear who might be showing speed. We both threw in number 2, Times Concern, Peter Walder, second last time behind Alico Castle. Alico Castle, he's been pretty useful in this circuit as well. We're going to take a short break, folks, and we'll come back and have a look at the 5th race on today's card that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow 6.
Gulfstream Park is one of Florida's top entertainment destinations, mixing restaurants, clubs, a casino, and international boutique shops with world-class racing. In a lavish, sun-drenched setting with the feel of a Mediterranean village, Gulfstream is a leading year-round entertainment and tourist destination and the home of luxury residences in 2014. The Stronach family, owners of Gulfstream Park, is committed to the sport of thoroughbred racing and the grace, spirit, and generosity of the horse.
The Rainbow 6 is back, and it's better than ever. Now with a 20-cent base wager, it will expand the market for the popular wager. And in addition to doubling the base wager, the percentage return to the winners on the days the jackpot isn't hit is increased to 70%, with 30% going to the carryover pool for the next program. Gulfstream Park, first post, 1240 each and every day.
Welcome back to Gulfstream Park. We're going to have a look at today's fifth race. Kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six, and there is a $50,000 guarantee that starts in race 5. We've had several scratches in there, Gabby, so now it makes it a little bit, it'll be interesting because I want to get your take on it, how deep we're going to have to go. We have the scratches of the 8, 11, 13, and 14, and again, the updates. We have any of those other horses coming out. Larry will let you know in just a few moments. Those were the early scratches, and it is a $35,000 maiden claiming event, a mile on the turf course. My top selection, I went with number 9, and that's a Twist and Bake. I see you went in a different direction, Gabby. Last time, a little bit of, it left me scratching my head a little bit. Not a great performance. Didn't have the greatest of starts, but that was on the inner at Aqueduct on December 4th. And but let's take a look, Gabby, at that start, or at that the early going. We'll see Twist and Bake. Now you're going to see the 6 horse right here, and gets pinched back a little bit, now spotting the field several lengths. I also think the drop is going to help here. Corey Lannery gets aboard. George Weaver, always sneaky good. He comes in here. They're ready to run. High percentage barn this year, and recent work that I think is fitting. So this is the one that I decided to go in, but I see that you went with number 4, Westminster Road.
I think there are a lot of things to go back to Twist and Bake, especially I really love that replay. To go back and kind of look at that replay, and obviously she got off to a poor start last time out and really took all of her tactical speed away from her, and that's one of her best attributes. So stretching out to a mile back on the turf, I think she could definitely use that. She does kind of draw to the outside. We do have a scratch of the 8, puts her in one post position there, but the biggest thing for her is to maybe get a good early position to press or even get close to that lead. Unfortunately, unlike her last start, she was caught in a chasing position, which is definitely not a comfortable position for her. But I did go to the 4, Westminster Road, coming in off a little bit of a freshening, gets to the turf for the first time. Blinkers do go on, and I just really like this transition here, especially dropping from Maiden Special Weight Company. Should like the turf. Dynaformer on the dam side as well. Blinkers go on. I'm going with a little bit of a shot, as you did too, 5-1 on the morning line for Twist and Bake.
Yeah, I think so. How deep do we think you have to go in this for the Rainbow Six?
I'd probably use maybe 3 or 4 at least.
Okay.
At least, yeah.
Or we do all.
Yeah, let's do all. Why not?
It's one of those races. I think I do agree. I think we're going to have to use several in there. And I also threw in number 10, Polly My Love, and coming into that, solid races. Actually, she ran her best career figures on the turf. So maybe that's going to be one that you're going to want to throw into your selections. On to the 6th race on today's card. We do have a $100,000 maiden claiming event. It's for 3-year-olds. 6 furlongs on the main track. We do have a jockey change. Number 1, Splitter, will be ridden by Miguel Vasquez. And my top pick is a horse that you didn't use among your selections, and that is number 2, Your Dreams or Mine. Bill Kaplan, and he drew the 10 post last time, and he had actually issues, and it says altered briefly in the running lines, although he did have several problems. I look at a couple of his races further back, Gabby. If you look, he finished 3rd and a close-up 3rd behind a horse named It's a Knockout, Old Mountain Lane. Both of those horses from the Todd Fletcher barn. It's a Knockout came back and won very impressively next time out. I actually think Old Mountain Lane, I think he's going to be pretty good as well. And on that form, dropping back to 6 furlongs, that's why I went in this direction.
It's a very good reasoning to pick the 2 there, and a nice price as well. I actually went to the 4 Frat Boy as the top selection. We're staying the same distance, 6 furlongs, but when he debuted, I actually did kind of peek at that replay last time out, and he looked a little bit on the green side. So I like the fact that they gave him a couple of months off to maybe mature in the meantime and put the blinkers on for the first time, because in that replay he seemed to be not handling the dirt hitting his face so well. So I think the blinkers on might make him a little bit more competitive, and as I said, the months in between may have matured him out of the new barn for Mike Maker.
Nice works coming into this too. I had to use him. I also threw in number 11, and that is Duval Street from the Dale Romans barn, and really a close-up second. Now he's stepping up, but I think that he really fits in this group, because I don't think there are any world beaters in here, Gabby. I think that there are several horses that you can take a shot and you can throw somebody in.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of value in here. I think the 11 Duval Street is going to to get well bet. And going back to his debut performance, he was okay. He was just kind of bested by a better horse, and that was another one of Dale Roman's runners. The winner missed. There are a couple interesting ones. The 9 J-Rock is related to some pretty decent runners, including Romancing the Gold, who made over $260,000. So that's a first-time starter. Might need one going this particular distance, but I think that's definitely a race to use a couple horses.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. On to the 7th race on the card. It is an allowance optional claiming test, and it is with a claiming price $35,000, and it is a mile and 7/16 on the turf. We do have a couple scratches, number 2, number 13, and also eligibles will likely slated to come out. And number 4, Gossip Column, will be ridden by Edgar Zayas. Orlando Bocachica went down the other day. He actually had surgery, had issues with his arm. He had a broken arm. He had a plate placed in his jaw. He's doing well. He's in the hospital, but the top rider here at Gulfstream, we wish him all the best. So he will notice he's off his mounts today. But my top selection, I went with number 8. Change of Command. And Gabby, you and I were talking, we were watching the video a little bit earlier together. We were talking about this race. Genre won last time, that was December 20th. Let's just take a look at that race. Change of Command, 2nd that day. Belisarius, who took money, who's also in this race. Here's another one, 3rd by a length, favored on that occasion. Why don't we talk a little bit about what we're seeing?
Well, you can look at Belisarius on the outside there, trying to make a closing run, and it just looks like he's a little bit apprehensive to pass Change of Command to the inside. Obviously, Change of Command did have a little bit of the advantage because he took the lead. He slowed the early fractions down, so he might have had a little bit more left in the tank than Belisarius. But you did see that other horse close willingly from off the pace, so that kind of put it into perspective that maybe he just was a little bit apprehensive to pass Change of Command. And even after the gallop out, you didn't really see him get aggressive after the gallop out. That's one thing I like to watch as well. If a horse passes another horse after the gallop out, and that definitely wasn't the case. So I think he's one to be respected. He has been beaten favored in his past 3 starts, so maybe that gives the ability to go for some value in this race.
And that's exactly why I picked against him. Not because I didn't think he necessarily could win. It's just that he just doesn't seem to want to, when it comes time to it, he just doesn't want to seem to go past. Those are the kind of horses, they take money. I don't really want to be on them on that particular day, so I decided to go in the different direction. And I know that you also used, so you used Change of Command, we used Belisarius, but your top selection, actually, you went with a Chris Block runner, and that is number 5, Gold Former, and this is from your beat. This is a little bit more your beat, right? And I'm a big fan of Chris Block. I think he does a great job.
He does do a great job. Now, the negative to this horse, I think he perhaps might need one coming off the shelf there. So kind of took the same strategy, the same approach last year. Was a race on the 8th of November out of town at Hawthorne. Came back to Gulfstream on the 16th of January last year. Needed a race, 2nd time off the layoff, really improved. But his best races are at Gulfstream on the turf, especially going this distance. I think he's going to relish this distance. He's the type of horse that just needs a little bit longer, and Chris Block can definitely get the job done. So going with value, I think it's going to be a little bit of a shot if he wins, obviously 10-1 on the morning line, but if you're playing the pick 6, that's a nice price to throw into the mix.
Yeah, sure, and that kicks off the late pick 4, race 7. So if you're still not in the Rainbow 6, well then maybe you can use you want to use a little bit of a price kicking off the late pick 4 of the day. On to the 8th race on today's card. It is an allowance optional claiming event, a $75,000 claiming tag. It is a mile on the main track, and we do have a scratch, which was a significant scratch for me, Gabby. That was number 10, Skywarn, a half sibling to Close Hatches. I'm really disappointed that horse is not going to be running. However, we do have some really capable horses in there. I ended up going with number 8, Eskin for Money from the Todd Pletcher barn. This is a daughter of Escandaria, and Todd Pletcher trained Escandaria, won the Wood Memorial. And this filly's best numbers. I look at the thoroughgraph sheets. I do look at on the figures, and her best performances, her best numbers are on the dirt. Why don't we take a look at that last performance? And It was really impressive. She just blew the doors off that day. 9 3/4 lengths. Now, again, perspective-wise, Gabby, I didn't have her on top, in fairness, to begin with. Is she going to back up off of that? Probably not. Todd's pretty good in terms of when they come back, especially off a layoff. They'll run pretty well, and they'll be able to follow that back up. But the final time, a little slow for my liking, although she didn't seem to be really even fully extended.
That's one thing. I think the positive is that she didn't seem to be fully extended. That's a tipping point for me why I didn't pick her as a top selection. It was a romp. It was a really, really good race. It was a little bit on the slower side. Perhaps the blinkers off move last time out really enhanced her performance, but she did go off at 40 cents to the dollar. I think this race might be a little bit tougher facing winners for the first time. So I actually went to a horse who's facing winners for the first time as well, and that's the 5 genre. Johnny Velasquez back aboard here. I thought really rode this horse well last time out to kind of get her to relax on the front end, and I'm hoping for pretty much the same performance today.
Yeah, she does have a really nice pedigree too. She's by Bernardini. You would think that they'd be able to run to get better the further they go. The mare, French Park, she was a graded stakes winner at a mile, and also this has been keeping good company. I threw her into the mix as well. Number 3, Zevin, looking at lucky, hot sire with his first crop last year, going to have a stocking position. I spoke to Eddie Keneally yesterday, and he said that the filly's doing really well, and I think she'll have to step up her game just a notch. However, I think she's going to be in the mix, and one you will like to include. We move on to the 9th race on the card. It is allowance optional claiming event. Claiming price $100,000. Mile and 16th on the turf course. Scratch the 6, 7, 12, 13, and 15. And I went with my top selection. This just threw everything into disarray. My top 2 choices scratched out of here. I went with number 3, Java's War. Java's War hasn't raced since September of 2013, the Pennsylvania Derby, and that was for Barclay Tagg, now in the barn of Roger Atfield. But if you look, Java's War beat a little horse we like to call Palace Malice, who might even be champion older horse this year. But I see that you went in a different direction in here.
Yeah, I went to Sky Blazer here. Rajiv Mirage back in the saddle, always very good to see. And this horse is coming in off a couple weeks layoff there. But last time out, we were even speaking about the winner, Mutin, and going back and even watching that replay. Mutin, the winner, he was, I believe it was the first start in the United States coming in for from Maidan for Kieran McLaughlin. So a pretty decent runner. And I think he just got the jump on the 9 Sky Blazer. But I just really liked how this horse finished up last time out, just being 3/4 of a length behind, I thought, a decent runner, even though he didn't go on to exit in good fashion, the winner of that last race. So I like Sky Blazer a little bit more before the scratches, because I thought there was a little bit more pace in here to run behind. But you're still going to get some pace with the 5, Smooth Stone, I think, and even Golden Rifle will show some speed as well. So I don't think, like I said, I liked him a little bit more with more pace, but I don't think it's a complete throwout.
Gabby, why don't we take a look at that last race? And you make a really good point. And the one thing I want to point out, Mutin, you did mention Mutin came back, ran the other day. So that was a little bit of a deterrent. I did use Sky Blazer, and he's a gelding that has a very strong sense of self. They do a lot of schooling with him. He has a bit of a temperamental side. Nice performance. Now maybe we can all argue Mutin came back, didn't run his best race. However, nice performance. This horse is such a trooper, and Rajiv Marat, he gets aboard. We haven't seen him in a while, and we're glad to see him back in the irons. On to the 10th and final race of the afternoon. It is a 20,000 claiming event and a mile 16th on the turf course. The scratches, the also eligibles, 13 through 15. And we do have a jockey change. Number 12 is going to be Jonathan Gonzalez. My top choice, your top choice, number 9, Street Game, Michelle Nevin. We were watching the video a few moments ago with genre, change of command, Belisarius a couple of races back. This horse actually came out of that race and was beaten 3 lengths. Why did you like him?
Primarily just because the class relief here. I think he's getting a huge class relief from facing change of command and Belisarius last time out. So I think he can play that to his advantage. Also, the turn back here, I think, is going to probably be a little bit of a better distance. He seemed to even out a little bit in the latter half of the stretch. So that's pretty much the rationale for the 9 Street Game in here.
super high five wagering as all in the final race. And just to let you know, folks, we do have a party here tonight, and it's going to be open to the public after 8 p.m. It's in honor of Sunshine Millions Weekend and the Eclipse Awards. There's going to be a $20 donation and then it goes towards a thoroughbred aftercare, and so it's a great cause, folks. Come out and join us tomorrow. Lots of action. We're going to have an autograph signing session here at Gulfstream, and it's going to be 1:30 to 2:30. Tom Durkin, Rosina Pravnik, and Mike Blowen from Old Friends. And it's, again, this is all for charity and for Old Friends and Thoroughbred Aftercare and the jockeys, the disabled jockeys. So much happening, folks, and you please have to join us. Thank you, Gabby, so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
What a lovely lady. We're going to see her back here tomorrow. She's going to be helping Ron and I all day for the later on in the card tomorrow. Ron will be back in the afternoon to join me. Folks, stick around. We will send you off having a look at Mucho Macho Man winning last year's Sunshine Millions Classic.
As Mucho Macho Man has run 3/4 in 1:10-2, and he's into the stretch. Mucho Macho Man. Gary Stevens hand riding him at the 8th pole, 10 lengths in front of the field. Bernie the Maestro about to be joined by Joshua's Comprise, who takes second behind the comeback performance by Mucho Macho Man.
The newest dining destination in the village of Gulfstream